Hey folks, so today it's philosophical topic, so it will be a bit of philosophy, um, and we will talk about the theory and practice, theory and practice in software design, theory and practices in software development. Because when I was the student in second year of studies, actually we had a quite cool uh, teacher that teaches C, the classical C. So it's Leonid Dionysevich Ozerkovsky, actually. And he was not only good developer and teacher, but he was only the amazing quality assurance engineer and actually knows a lot about the electronics. And what he did, he teaches C, but he chose extremely buggy and extremely old compiler from the Microsoft. And what we learned that you could have absolutely correctly written code, absolutely good and correct program, but it doesn't work. It just doesn't work because compiler have a bug, and you need to take to the consideration not only the correctness but the reality. And yeah, so and for me it was shock, but it's helped me a lot in my career. Another example that I need to confess, my master degree is not software developer. I more the guy who practice the satellites, do the embedding systems, and design the hardware. And what's usually happens in a hardware when you, for example, working with the FPGA or maybe you working with some other types of hardware, that on the simulator when you're developing the VHDL, everything is super shiny and works. But when you upload the program to the crystal, it stop working because the signal somewhere behave differently. And that's again, it's a bit the theory and practice. And what I try to teach my students or the younger developers or the new team members and so on, then in theory it's not no difference between theory and practice, but in practice it is. And it's a big question if your software design and if your software development are based on the practice or based on the theory. And when you see the architecture diagram, is it was made by the person that know how this magic work in theory, or built by a person who actually did it before? And the biggest problem that sometimes we build in something that nobody built before. So for example, the local first and applications with the local first AI models. Or we need to run some crazy vector search databases on the user form, and so on and so forth. And sometimes we have to discover ourselves what the practice mean. And it's simple mantra, it's simple concept, it's quite easy to remember that in theory it's no difference between the theory and practice, but in practice it is, and it's shaped a lot in everyday software development, because you think that this library should work this way. It's even mentioned in the documentation that it should work, but unfortunately every software have a bugs, every software have undocumented features, and sometimes software behave different, or maybe your domain is so complex that you're not taking into account some corner cases, or maybe you understand them differently. And yeah, and here is the conflict between the theoretical knowledge and theoretical understanding how the things works, and practical knowledge when you really go and read the code of your dependencies, when you really deeply understand how your dependencies and how your own code interact with each other and work together. That's why we really need to build the practical knowledge. We really need to rely on the people that have the practical knowledge, but in the same time, we need the people who really deep in theory, that really a bit deep in philosophy, and have the ability to build the new practical knowledge for good of all. So that's why keep in mind that sometimes, yeah, it's a difference between the theory and practice. So I wish you a good week and see you next Wednesday on our philosophical talks about, the logic of software design.